Check 1 2. Check 1 2. Hello? Check 1 2. Normally, Cody, if someone came at me with all caps like that, I would just tell them to fuck off. Because I don't appreciate, that's rude to me. But guessing, I can guess who you are. I don't know who you are, but I can guess who you are. I think I know who you are, so it's cool. But thank you. Thank you. So I've been talking that whole time on mute. That's fucked up. Oh, I have to edit this out. That's all. Oh, not anymore. Quadruple A. I thought when I said, does anyone have a lot of questions? You said not anymore. I thought you were answering that question. I didn't know you were responding to the audio thing. Well, good. We're straight now. All right. Well, I'm not going to repeat what I just said while I was on mute. So we'll just move forward with whatever we're going to do here. I want to remind everybody. All right. You may or may not have heard of the individual Jason Paul Grievous. I'm not going to dignify them with colons and hyphens and stuff like that. The pressure's not off of that individual. That individual is still a grifter, still a scammer. I just put out what I said, what I was going to say about him. The copyright strike that he filed against this channel, I think it expires in 2 days and goes away. So that issue is done and gone. And he's still a grifter, still a scammer. And I just wanted to get that out of the way real quick. I have not changed my position on that. Russell J. Gould, although I cannot really speak to his caliber of, what sort of caliber of human he is, because I don't know him. What I can speak to is the evidence that he provides online of his grammar knowledge, and he does not have closure on either. He does not have closure on correct sentence structure, or he's purposely putting out fictitious conveyance of grammar. It's one or the other. Or, not to get into the either or logical fallacy. Or a third option would be someone's forcing him to do it. Come out without the correctness. So I just wanted to get those two things out of the way there. So we can move forward with whatever we have on deck, which is on my end really nothing. I came into this unprepared because I was hoping that the viewers would participate with Rule 1, Rule Equal, and put something of value into the chat, and then I would give something of value back. I have started the ball rolling by giving the opportunity to ask me questions about the grammar, because that is one thing I do claim in the public. I am a correct sentence structure, communication, parse, syntax, grammar tutor. I have been doing so for 8+ years. I'm very confident about it. I feel I know what I'm doing. I have a good track record. I have over 1,000 videos. I have many successful cases in the confidential, many successful clients. Clients who have had success using what I teach, specifically related to the grammar. So go ahead. Pick my brain if you have the cojones. If not, you can just listen to me ramble. How many viewers we got? I can send out a gift real quick here before I forget. There we go. Quadruple A got the gift. Awesome sauce. Cool beans. All right. All right, let's get to it then. Really hasn't well, hey, you're welcome, quadruple A. That was YouTube though, because I have no way of directing a gifted subscription, or I mean, I'm sorry, a gifted membership to anybody. Hector is here. My buddy Hector, he's my good buddy Hector. He happens to have an eye infection. I'm gonna bring him in for a guest appearance. Here's my buddy Hector. You see, his left eye is a little bit, he's got an issue going on. But he is the coolest cat you will ever see, ever meet. Edgar Casey used to say that the cats have special abilities. I'm not going to go into that, but I can tell you that the other night Hector was sleeping beside me, curled up, and I had a dream, and Hector was in that dream, and he was looking at me, making eye contact. And when I woke up, he was looking at me, making eye contact. Are you kidding me right now? All right. So I just wanted to put that out there. I'm not totally stone cold with the I'm not totally stone cold against probabilities of things that we can't explain. There's tons of stuff we can't explain, folks. Tons of stuff. And I'm supremely interested in all of it. It just doesn't really have a place here on this channel because this channel is about the facts and about the grammar. That's why I'm here. Your thoughts on this in terms of underlying for the claim of the facts as the facts is with the claim by the claimant, with an underline under of the facts as the facts. Your thoughts on this in terms of underlying? I'm not sure what you mean by underlying, unless you mean underlining. And Cody, just so we're clear, what who are you, bro? Would would you be are you okay with giving your full correct name? Because I do know a Cody who once took a workshop with me. Are you that Cody? You talked to me yesterday. Okay. Got you. All right. So let me ask you a question, Cody. What is your closure on using as a positional? Because there are 4 positionals, 4 of, with, and by. All right. Now this is going to be a lesson on positional sequencing. Every in correct sentence structure, 1 and 1 is 1. One word, one meaning, one function, one congruency. 4 is congruent with by. Of is congruent with. What is as congruent with? If you're going to use it as a positional, what is as congruent with? It can't be congruent with, of, with, for, or by. The function of for is the cause of the sentence. The function of is the concern or consequence of the sentence. The function of with is the possessive of the sentence. The function of by is the authority of the sentence. So what is the function of as? So that I need to understand that first. Like, why are you using that as a positional? Because there are only 4 positionals, according to DAVID-WYNN, Miller, and what he teaches, and according to what I have certified through the mathematical interface. As, what is the function of as? It can't be the authority. It can't be possessive. It can't be the concern. It can't be the cause. So what is the function of it? And what is it congruent with? When you read a sentence backwards, For becomes by, of becomes with. What does as become? If for becomes by when you read a sentence backwards and of becomes with, what does as become? I've never heard of such a thing. I've never heard of a floating position. There are 4 positionals. I've been teaching this for 8 years, bro. 4 positionals. For, of, with, and by. Where is as? What is the function of as? And okay, you can say it functions as a floating positional. It's not an authority, it's not a cause, it's not a possessive, it's not a concern, it's floating. So it doesn't really have a purpose, does it? And when you read a sentence backwards, what is it congruent with? Because correct sentence structure, 1 and 1 is 1. One word, one meaning, one congruency, one function. I've shared with you the one function of for, of, with, and by. I've shared with you the meanings of those. I've shared with you the congruency. For is congruent with by, of is congruent with with. So how does as work into that when you read it backwards? Just like in 1 plus 2 equals 3, 3 minus 2 equals 1, the mathematical interface, the important thing to remember is that the positionals serve the function of the plus and minus signs. The facts or factors maintain their value. Plus becomes minus and vice versa. Multiplication becomes division and vice versa. So what does as become? What is the congruency of as? If for becomes by, plus becomes minus, of becomes with, when you go backwards, what does as become? All right. In a roundabout way, what I'm trying to tell you is that as is incorrect. You would not use that as a positional. It has no business in correct sentence structure, communication, parsing, syntax, grammar, because it nullifies the mathematical interface. So to look at your sentence, for the claim of the facts as the facts is completely, what did they say? With an underline under of the facts as the facts. For the claim of the facts as the facts. Okay, that would be incorrect. I mean, theoretically speaking, I see what you're trying to say there, Cody, because I know, don't take this the wrong way. I know you're not stupid. So, what I'm going to explain to you, please listen very carefully. If you're going to go that route and use the underlining function, it would be for the claim of the, and then facts as the facts would be underlined. You understand? Facts as the facts would be underlined. So that way you're not messing with the concatenation. And it takes out the whole issue of as a positional. So then you would read it backwards. You would say, for the claimant of the claim is with the, and then underline facts as the facts by the claim. So I get what you're saying there, but I just wanted to reiterate that as would never be used as a positional on its face. But when you underline it, that's how you would do it. You would not start the underline from of the facts as the facts. It would have to be facts as the facts. Those 4 words, facts as the facts. You would underline that. And then that would be taken as a whole, and then that would be syntax as 567, 567, 2, 567, 567. So but I really, for the other viewers, not just for you, but for the other viewers, I just wanted to make that clear that as would never be used as a positional. And in your example there, Cody, Obviously, you're not using it as a positional. It's part of your fact. Which, folks, what Cody's doing there is, I mean, it may sound goofy, but it is high level stuff. Okay, what he's talking about right there, doing that. I would not choose to do something like that, but it is a mechanic that can be used. All right, I would choose something else. I would choose a different way to articulate that using correct sentence structure, because I try to keep the fiction out of the correct sentence structure as much as possible. When we underline out name, the of is in it, so the of isn't used in the taking it backwards. So I was just curious about using it in a sense. Too hard to explain. Yeah, I get it. I get it. It's a bitch to try to type all that stuff into the comments. I get it. I get it. But I knew what you were talking about, man. I caught on. I'm a little bit slow, but I caught on. I appreciate that, though. I appreciate you, Cody, for bringing that in here and for giving me something to talk about, something about the grammar, which is awesome. Much, much, much appreciation there for that, and for being able to talk about as. There are many other words that people use as positionals that are not correct, like through, over, under, on. There are 4 positionals: for, of, with, and by. Period. End of story. And by the way, also as a bonus, I just explained to you what the mathematical interface is and how it works. The 1 plus 2 equals 3, 3 minus 2 equals 1, how that works with regards to the positionals being the key to the mathematical interface of the factors maintaining the same value forwards as they do backwards. That's why I always teach when people write out a sentence, always read it backwards. Always. Because if you don't, what you say going forwards from port side to starboard side, when you flip it, it may not make sense. And there may be a slight adjustment. Like for myself personally, when I write out a sentence, especially if it is a complex sentence, meaning there's 5 or 6 or 7 or 8, multiple position loadal fact phrases after the verb, most times the 2 position loadal fact phrases that come before the authority, the end of the sentence, I usually have to swap those for some reason. It's like a mental thing. Like going forward, it looks great. And then going backwards, it doesn't make sense. So I swap those 2 sentences and then it makes sense. So it's always good to check your work. All right. Anybody else out there? Questions, comments, criticisms, live life claim questions, C-Pass-C treaty questions, domicile claim questions, port authority questions. I'm here to answer them if you have them. This is a public live stream, by the way. So all you trolls out there, if you're watching right now, feel free to pull up. The forum is open. Step on up. You won't. All right, so what I will do now is I will talk about the workshops that I provide in case anybody out there is not familiar with how I navigate these things. There are no charges or fees for what I do. All right. I navigate on a donation gift basis. If you want to take a workshop with me, I have a full curriculum that I've been teaching for 8+ years. It is tailored to you and your knowledge level. But first, I have to see what that is. And so that's why I set up a 10 to 15-minute brief consultation so that you and I can sit across from each other, basically, in a location, a safe location that I provide, a video chat, and you can ask me whatever you want to ask me, and I will do the same with you. And I'll see that I'll see if I want to teach you, because some people I don't want to teach, especially if they're malicious or they're smart asses, or I feel like their volition is just not with the balance of the honor and the grace, the position of peace and neutrality, and the maintenance of rule equal. There are people out there who are very vindictive and shady. So I won't deal with them. But that's why I do that. That's a vetting process. And so if we vibe together like that, I will then send you out a contract, and you read the contract, you either agree or you don't agree. And if you agree, then we will proceed to do workshops. The workshops are 1 hour in duration. You can take as many workshops as you like. Now, most folks can get closure on this in about 7 workshops. So I've seen folks get closure on it in 1 workshop, but that's a very rare occasion. And the individual who got closure on correct sentence structure in 1 1-hour workshop was actually a physics professor at a college. And all it took was 1 workshop in 1 hour. But most folks, it takes about 7 workshops. It takes a lot of diligence. It takes daily study, daily work. Every day you got to do correct sentence structure. It's like walking up a down escalator. If you're doing anything besides walking forward, you're going backwards. And that's just how it works until you reach such, the pinnacle. Then you get this light bulb moment. It's like riding a bike at that point. You never forget it. It just, boom, goes off in your head, and now it's cemented. You've crystallized that correct sentence structure, psychological center in your psyche, and it's like riding a bike. It just never goes away. Yeah, quadruple A, that happened one time. And it happened back in like 2021, I think, or 2020. I don't even know where that fella is today. Haven't spoken to him in a long time. But most folks, it takes about 7 workshops. And I do have over 8+ years, I do have about a dozen and a half students who are proficient enough in this technology that they could walk into a foreign vessel and dry dock, and I'd be fairly confident about their safety in doing so. Now, that's a far cry from when I started this back in February of 2018, where at that time I only knew I could count the number of folks that knew how to syntax, that I personally knew that knew how to syntax, on one hand and have fingers left over. But now I need more than 2 hands to count that number. And I think that's awesome that that some folks possess that tenacity to learn this with humility, with an open cup, empty cup, I should say, and they learn this, and then they go on to use it and be successful with it. Thank you, Lily. I appreciate your positive comments. You always bring positivity to the algorithm, and I appreciate your viewership. So that's how the workshops navigate, but you have to contact me at jasonmatthewg17@gmail.com. Please provide your full correct name. I know on the internet we like to use nom de guerres, fake usernames, because, people just don't like to put their name and face out there for some reason. But when you email me in the confidential, don't worry, your secret is safe with me. You can share your full correct name. I won't give it out. I promise. You have my word of honor. I know what that's like. I had to get over that when I first came out on YouTube and started this channel. I was very nervous about putting my full correct name out there with my face for people to see. It was pretty daunting, but I did it. And if you want to use correct sentence structure, communication, parsing, syntax, grammar, that's definitely something you have to get over. You have to get over the wanting to hide and be anonymous. Why? Because with this technology, it commands rule one, rule equal. You may think you know what that means, but if you're using a nom de guerre and you're anonymous on the internet, then you may not quite know what it means, or you may not agree with it, because rule one, rule equal means that you credential yourself. You stand behind your words as the author of your words. You put your name and your face to the content that you release into the interwebs. Like, yeah, I said that. I stand behind it. That's me. That's why I would never, I follow this rule from when I started learning this grammar, is I'd never say something online that I wouldn't say to someone's face. There's lots of keyboard warriors who don't even know how to do something like that. They say things that they would never say to someone's face on the street. What do we got here? 35 minutes. All right. I'm about to draw this one to a close, unless someone has another grammar question. How are you all doing out there? Let me see who's active here. Quadruple A, how you been doing? You doing okay? Lily, how are you doing? You doing okay? I hope everybody's doing okay. I just I'm fostering a baby kitty. So we have 4 felines. Actually, let me see. We have Mama Kiki, who's an elderly female cat. Snowy, who's a snowshoe cat. He's an adult. We have Hector, Hector, Oscar, Pablo, Pancho, Chapito, Papito, Escobar, Ortiz Garcia. He's a Siamese cat. And then our new addition is uh, Orange Julius Caesar, who's a little white kitten with orange highlights on his face and his tail. We're going back and forth with naming the kitten. I want to name the kitten Pazuzu. If anyone wants to know who Pazuzu is, I tell people, like the lady at the shelter, at the anti-cruelty shelter, she's like, "What are you gonna name him?" And I said, "I wanna name him Pazuzu." And she's like, "Oh, that's cute." And then when people find out where that name comes from or some of the associations with that name, then, they don't like it anymore. They don't think it's so cute anymore. Pazuzu is actually a Mesopotamian god of, like, protection, and, he's a pretty badass god. But later on in history, he became associated with a demon or something, and actually Pazuzu is the name of the demon that possesses the little girl in the movie The Exorcist, which to me, it doesn't that connotation is not there, and I don't really care about that anyways. I just think the name is cool. And also there was a murderer named Pazuzu, I guess, uh, a few years back. But my wife wants to name him Pikachu, which is, also cute, right? Pikachu. But we may compromise and call him Wotan or Odin, with a shout out to my uh, Norse roots. Um, it's funny, a Norseman married to a Native American. Culturally diverse, huh? But then we have this foster that we just got. This is like a tuxedo kitten. Blessing Matthew, my phone tracked by Russell J. Gould. Well, Lily, why would Russell do that? Why would Russell track your phone? Um, is he interested in you? I've had the same cell phone number since 2012. I guess that's a rarity. Same phone number since 2012. John Roberts. Hey, welcome in, man. How you doing? Hope you're doing well. Welcome in. If you want to ask me a question about the grammar, awesome. I appreciate that. You can ask me a question about live life claims, C-Pass-C treaty, domicile claim, port authority claim, whatever you like. Banking, postal mechanics, flag mechanics. Bring it. I'm here for you. We're going on 42 minutes right now. And I was thinking about drawing it to a close, but if you have a question, I will answer it. Sorry, I speak truth. Well, I forgive you, Lily. I definitely forgive you if you're saying you're sorry. Although I don't know why you would be sorry about saying that. Um, but again, I ask you, what's the reason why Russell J. Gould is tracking your cell phone? What's the reason? If you'd like to share that with the class, so maybe we can get to the bottom of this, huh? Like a hello, April. Welcome in. Appreciate you being here. April was a student of mine a while back. Very diligent student, and kind of stopped before the full closure came, I think, if I remember correctly. But hey, I appreciate you being here. IMJ is stealing my work. What is your work, Lily? What do you do for work? What is the work that Jay is stealing? Y- I'm going to share with you folks some scuttlebutt that I heard many years ago, probably 2018, 2017, 2018. I heard some scuttlebutt. This is completely off the record, and the viewers in here, please keep it to yourself. Um, just between you and I. Don't tell anybody else. Just everybody in here. Don't mention this to anybody else. But someone told me that had spoken with Russell J. Gould that Russell claimed to have invented cryptocurrency, and that the CIA or whoever came in and raided his laboratories in Wyoming and stole his laptops and stole his cryptocurrency Bitcoin concept. Now that's just between you and I. You know, I have no way of proving this. This is just scuttlebutt that someone who spoke to Russell personally told me, because I know a lot of people. His video are my thoughts. Intellectual property. So what do you plan to do about that, Lily? I mean, is there something? Does that bother you? And if so, what do you plan to do about it? Or if anything, because that's the basis. Since this is a correct set and structure channel, that's the foundation of what we do here. We use correct set and structure to stop trespass. If you're being trespassed upon, especially intellectually, bureaucratically, you use document, contract, postal vessel, court venues to stop that. And are you? I mean, I don't know what your level of correct set and structure is, or anything like that. Um, just wondered what do you plan to do about it? Because that's the other thing about this domain. We can't rely on anyone else to really to defend us or to guarantee our safety. We have to do it ourselves. Doesn't matter who you are. You have to learn to stand up for yourself. That's what autonomy means. And a lot of folks aren't ready to do that. But I just thought I'd mention that. Where was I going with this? Oh, yeah, the crypto thing. You know, it's funny. I used to work for a huge business corporation. Well, it was a luxury golf community in Arizona. Millionaires and billionaires belonged to this club. It was, at the time I worked there, it was 6 18-hole golf courses with a spa, a horse ranch, walking trails, all kinds of stuff. And I remember I was a manager there and on one of the golf courses. And I remember when, if I wanted someone to hear something, or if I wanted to start a rumor or something, the first thing I would do is pull someone aside and say, "Hey, man, just between you and me, please don't repeat this." And then I would say what I was going to say. And I knew just by saying that that they would definitely repeat it. So that's kind of like a joke, because I know this is a public live stream and I know people are gonna yap about what I just said about Russell and crypto. Rusty claimed that I am his wife. Okay. It just so happens that I know the name of Russell's ex-wife, and to my knowledge, although I don't know too much about the guy nowadays, um, I don't think he's married. Because I remember in 20, 20, I think, is he went through a divorce. Now, I don't know if he got a legal divorce. I don't even know if he was legally married, but I know he had a wife and kids, um, because he mentioned them in private video conversations. And I remember seeing video conversations with Russell talking about he was moving and there were tons of boxes behind him. And that's when Rachel Dara Prince came into the equation. When Russell moved from Wyoming to Arizona. But I mean, this is just not really anything to do with the grammar. This is just rumor and innuendo and things like that. I got to do it all. Ha ha. I will email you one of these days and do the one-on-ones. Curious, what's your thoughts on UCC secure creditor stuff? Appreciate your work, man. Well, hey, John Roberts. I hope you follow up on that. I definitely don't want to jinx you or discourage you, but I have heard multiple people say what you just said, and they never email me. So I hope you follow through. I really do. If you're really interested in this grammar, there are over 1,000 free videos on this channel that you can study and check out. What are my thoughts on UCC secured creditor stuff? I don't really have any thoughts on that. I've never delved into that because to me, from my position as a correct sentence structure, communication, parsing, syntax, grammar tutor, that's fiction. That's using fiction. That's using the fiction system to gain some sort of advantage or whatever, which is cool. I mean, you use whatever the hell works, man. Whatever gets them off your back. If using UCC secured creditor stuff gets them off your back, hell yeah, do it. I've just never really been into that. Once I latched onto the correct sentence structure stuff back in 2017, I had no need for any of that UCC code stuff or common law stuff. Excuse me. New York baby. Yeah. Okay. So Lily says Russell is stealing her work and that his videos are her thoughts and that he claims she is his wife and that he has a legal marriage. And then says, yes, he is daughter. Yeah, I really don't know where to go with that, Lily. It's kind of beyond the spectrum of what we do here. But I appreciate you coming on here and sharing again. You know, Lily's always putting, you know, comments on the videos, giving the thumbs up, the hearts, the praying hands, saying positive stuff. And I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Respect to you too, Lily. Whatever you're going through, I hope you get through it safely and soundly. And I wish you continuous health for yourself and your entire family. As I wish everybody else out there as well. John Roberts, I hope that I hope you do contact me and start up the workshops. You know, a lot of folks feel like they need to study the videos on the channel first before they do the workshops, and that's fine too. But I don't think they realize that, like, let me give you this analogy. You can sit back and read books and watch videos on how to swim, right? Read books, watch videos on how to swim for a couple days, a week, 6 weeks, whatever. But nothing can really compare to getting into the water with a swim teacher who's going to show you something on the spot. So all that stuff studying that you spent 6 weeks doing, you could literally learn in 30 minutes jumping in the water with a tutor. So it's up to you how you want to do it. And I've said this for years, the fastest way to learn this stuff is to apply for the class, jasonmatthewg17@gmail.com, contact me, and get the ball rolling. And if your volition is to learn this and you have emptied your cup and you're ready to go, we'll get it done. But only you can take that step. I can't take it for you. Like, I feel like if someone says they have to study the videos before they start taking classes, I feel like they're procrastinating. In 8+ years of teaching, I think I've earned the position to say something like that. If someone says that, they're procrastinating. If someone says they're going to contact me, yeah, I'm going to contact you pretty soon and I'm going to do this, they're procrastinating. If you're really going to do it, just do it. Like the Henry Rollins song, just do it. All right. Coming up on an hour. All right. It's time to draw this to a close, folks. Unless someone has an earth-shattering question that they're going to ask me, I might edit out that Russell J. Gould crypto thing. Because that's kind of way off the charts there. That was just a little rumor I heard. And, you know, I really, seriously, folks out there, you may think something different, but I don't have anything, I don't have negative uh, feelings towards Russell J. Gould because I don't know the guy personally. The only thing I've ever really said and stuck to is that based upon the public documents that he has published or other folks have published, his grammar is not correct. It's quantum gobbledygook. He does not have closure on the grammar. And I have also pointed out the mistakes that he makes in the grammar. And I have also shown how to fix those mistakes. And thus far, that's never been addressed. The only thing, the only complaint, the only issue that the Russell J. Gould camp, if you will, or the man himself, I don't know if he's the one that writes this stuff on his website or not. The only issue he has is that he's saying that I'm not authorized to use the flag of the technology, which that's sort of like an oxymoron because how can you claim to have a copyright on correct grammar when you don't know how to use it? How can you claim to have authority over correct grammar when you don't authorize correct grammar, when you're not the author of correct grammar? You're the author of adverb, verb, adjective, pronoun, fiction, babble. I use correct grammar. I can prove it. Forwards and backwards, mathematically certified. I have a flag constitution for the 1 by 1.9 flag. I don't own the flag. I claim no ownership. I claim no copyright, copy claim hold over that flag. I use it because what authorizes use of that flag? Knowledge. Russell and David have said it ad nauseum. Authority comes from knowledge. So that's why I don't think I think that's why I've never been fucked with, to put it bluntly. I've never had an issue ever with anyone because I can prove that my grammar is correct. I can prove and explain it and give closure to everything I'm doing in my document contract postal vessel court venues. When I walk into foreign vessels in dry dock or, like a police station or a government building or whatever I'm doing, I, I'm perfectly safe because I have a correct C-Pass-C treaty and my documents are all in line and I paid my fee for freight. I posted my roads, so on and so forth. Blah, 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 blah. I feel like I'm tooting my own horn. I don't really want to do that. I just want to prove that I can back up what I say. Most folks don't have a dictionary. I do. I can give closure to everything I'm doing. And you can too. Just take the workshops. Start learning. Get it going. Keep yourself safe. All right, folks. This video will be available in the live stream playlist available to the public. I appreciate everybody being here. This is a great stream. And Canada Post is on strike, so that is very interesting. Yeah, that is interesting. Is there a remedy or course of action that Lily could take? For what? Lily hasn't really explained to me anything, given me any details, so I don't really know what the trespass is. I mean, she says that he's stealing her thoughts via tracking her cell phone. I guess one solution I could suggest is get rid of your cell phone. Get a flip phone, get a burner. Just a weird thought, but I've been thinking a lot lately about gematria and quantum grammar. You know about Manly P. Hall and the gematria he talks about. Seems like elites are using gematria a lot. Yeah, I mean, the value of something is what you ascribe to it. If you feel that numbers have certain values to them, then that's the value they have. It's the same with anything, really. Um, the value of something is what you put into it. That's banking. If you want to use codes and ciphers, um, yeah, sure, that's a great study. Especially if you're dealing with them and you feel like those numbers mean something to them, then you can take that into consideration if you're navigating a trespass claim or something like that. You can use those things as part of your tactics for sure. Um, but the main thing is, I would highly recommend being a steward of your breathing and also not getting emotional about anything and try really hard not to leap to assumption presumption. To go back to what Amun Ross said, is there a remedy or course of action that Lily could take? I have no idea what Lily's level of grammar knowledge is, if any. So if you're talking about a correct sentence structure course of action, there is none unless she takes workshops and or gets closure on the grammar somewhere else, which I'm not sure where that would be other than here. Oh, by the way, I started out saying that I really had nothing personally against Russell J. Gould. There's another fellow that I mentioned at the beginning of the stream, Jason Paul Grievous. That's totally different because I've had conversations with Grievous, and that guy is a POS with void honor, from my experience. A scammer and a grifter. And I can prove that. I have hard evidence of that on my hard drive and in my ledgers. Okay. So the only thing I have on Russell is his incorrect grammar. And also, his contradictory type statements that he makes in videos that don't make any sense sometimes. But the same thing could be said for David-WYNN Miller. He made a lot of claims, folks, a lot of claims that are basically uncertifiable, especially now that he's not here to talk about them anymore. I'm not sure how to navigate the postal mechanics with mail being held hostage or not moving at all. Any suggestions would be great. Well, I mean, if the mail isn't working, if they're not taking your mail and delivering it, there's really not much you can do about it other than deliver it yourself. Which you can do if you take an envelope, right? Put a stamp on it, autograph over that stamp on the envelope. That makes you postmaster of that envelope, that parcel, that vessel, and you take it and you drive it to where you want it to go and deliver it. You're a letter carrier. That's my suggestion. Because there's really nothing else you can do if the custom clearinghouse brokers, i.e. the post office, the postal service, are not doing their job. What are you going to do? Force them to do their job? There's really nothing else you can do. But if you claim to be a postmaster, if you autograph over stamps, which makes you a postmaster, you can deliver the mail. Your own mail, I mean. It's that simple. It's not complicated at all. I've done it. You can do it too. Anything I can do, you can do. Maybe file for a Freedom of Information Act FOIA for all mail ever received in your name. Well, I mean, if you want to use the fiction with the fiction, that's entirely up to you. Personally, I don't. If I never receive another piece of mail again, I'm good. I'm good. You can keep the gas bill. You can keep the water bill. You can you can keep the electric bill. I don't need to get them. If the post office is on strike, cool. Not a big deal. If I need something delivered, I'll do it myself. Hell yeah. But always remember, folks, if you're going to do that, if you're going to claim that title of postmaster, autographing over the stamp and thumbprinting over the stamp with your punctuated name, make sure you have a correct set and structure live life claim. Make sure it has 3 or more witnesses on it who are also live life claimants. Make sure that that has the proper, correct postal mechanics, flag mechanics, banking mechanics, and grammar mechanics. Then make sure, if you are ever questioned about it, that you say and specify that you are postmaster of that vessel and of that vessel only. Very important. All right, folks. Thank you very much. Appreciate everybody. See you next month in next month's live stream. Peace. Que sera, sera.